Cross-examine.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Brington, or actually good afternoon. You author a blog of your own, correct?
Yes.
You're doing this as a publicity stunt, correct?
No, sir.
Okay, let me just show you what Marcus has done as a blog.
Let me take a peek at it.
Yeah, so this one. And take a look at that as well. And would you agree that you wrote that blog
Yes, sir.
entry?
Yes.
And you invited on your blog the public to come out here today, did you not?
I asked people to come and support me.
Okay. And you described this entire scenario in which you're so distressed about, right? You invited the public to come?
To support me, those who want to support me. And there are some people here who did respond.
And you mentioned Mr. Albero's campaign or potential campaign for mayor right there in the headline, did you not?
Yes.
Okay. And you're doing this here just as a political
No, sir.
stunt in his mayor?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. You filed a petition for peace order, correct? You have that in front of you? Do you have a copy of
My
what you
attorney
filed? And do you mind if I give her this, Mr. Moore? This is just a petition that she filed.
That's fine.
Is that the petition that you filed?
Yes.
You signed that under oath, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you look up to the top of the part where it says, can you provide examples that occurred within the last 30 days?
Yes.
You see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me one example in the last 30 days, despite the fact that you said you had no contact with Mr. Albero in the last 2 years? Give me one example in the last 30 days when you were threatened by Mr. Albero.
I feel extremely threatened by Mr. Albero when he posts about me having sex in public.
Okay. And you said when he...
In the last 30 days?
July
25th, Judge. That's petitioner's blanket.
And this is, you're referring to the comments on... No, now you have comments in your own blog, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't author those comments, do you?
Well, if I do, I mention my name. Yes.
Okay. When you don't author anonymous comments in your blog?
Yes, I do.
So you write comments in your blog as anonymous?
No, sir, I didn't say that. I didn't say that, no.
But what you're trying to do is you're trying to attribute an anonymous comment on Mr. Albero's blog to a perceived threat that he made?
Yes, because I have the very same mechanism to approve comments, and I don't allow comments that are personal attacks to people in a sexual manner or threatening or are, that are not public people.
So, but the answer to my question is yes, you're looking at those anonymous blogs and perceiving a threat?
In the collective of the past 3 years, in the total picture, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not asking about the last 3 years. I'm asking about the last 30 days when you testified under oath that you believe you've been threatened. You signed that petition and said that you've been threatened. Can you give me one example, as you sit here today, how Mr. Albero, not some anonymous post, how Mr. Albero threatened you?
Mr. Albero has told me he writes his own comments to form public opinion.
It's a simple question.
I'm answering your question. So my feeling is he authored those posts as he's done many times in the past. And the past is not irrelevant here. This has been going on for 3 years. And I do feel threatened. It has not ended, despite the fact I've had no contact with the man for 2 years.
So the answer to my question is no, you cannot provide one example.
I just provided it.
Okay. Can you provide one example within the last 30 days in which you contend Mr. Albero assaulted you, whether it's sexually or otherwise? Now, keep in mind you put down under oath that he's done this within the last 30 days.
I said seems to want to sexually assault me.
Okay, why don't you flip to the second page?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Seems to want to sexually assault me.
Has Mr. Albera called you on the phone within the last year?
No,
Okay. Has Mr. Rivera spoken to you in person within the last year?
no, I avoid him.
Okay. Can you provide one example that Mr. Albera within the last year, okay, within the last year, made any comment of any nature about your children?
Yes, sir, Friday, whatever date that was.
That anonymous...
The one I believe that he authored.
That you believe that anonymous post is...
That he authored, yes.
Okay.
And then there was one last month, and there was one the month before, both including mention of my children.
And you're so upset about this, you posted on your own blog for the whole world to see.
Yes, sir. Because I have no other recourse other than this court, or to let people know in this community that I feel harassed and that I am afraid. And because that I can't do anything to physically protect myself without a court order, I feel it necessary to have the community know that I have felt harassed. Because people forget. I had to go through these files of the last 3 years of all the vile, disgusting things that have been
Ms.
said.
Brewington, have you ever heard the expression, the more you stir it, the more it stinks?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Those are all the questions I have for you. Mr. Moore may have some in response to mine. But I would like to offer Respondent's Exhibit 1 in evidence.
All right. Sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
Just very brief, Mr. Brewington. When you said that you have, that's fine. You have a couple people here for your support. Who's here on your behalf to support you?
Miss Roberta Wexler, Sarah Foxwell's grandmother, Mike Brewington, my husband, and my life crisis advocate.
And Mr. Rommel asked you a question about any comments about your children. You identified a comment from July 25th as being about your children. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you referencing back to his comments, Mr. Albera's comments about leaving your children with a known sex offender? Are you connecting those dots? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay. No other question.
Nothing in light of Mr. Morse, Your Honor.
Ms. Brewington, were you ever a candidate for public office?
Yes, sir.
House of Delegates?
Yes.
Okay.
That's our side at this point.
Okay. Mr. Rommel, do you have any witnesses?
Mr. Albera, Your Honor.
Testify, you can testify from the trial table.
Okay.
Hearing better anyway.
Mr. Albera, can you describe to the court just very, very briefly, the blog that you own and operate?
The blog that I own is Salisbury News, sbynews.com. It is a...
You have the power when comments appear in response to something that you have written to delete them?
Yes, sir.
Delete those comments so that they spend the least amount of time out before the public?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you occasionally do that, get something that's so vile that...
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Are you the author of, show that your client, are you the author of any of those comments
No,
listed by as anonymous?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Never under anonymous, sir.
May I have it back? Go ahead, Mr. Rommel.
And Sarah, can you describe, I guess, you certainly had an opportunity to hear Ms. Brewington testify. Is there anything in her testimony that you specifically would consider to be inaccurate?
Pretty much all of it.
How much contact, if any, have you had with Ms. Brewington within the course of the last 2 years?
None. Zero.
Have you called her on the phone?
No, sir.
Have you spoken to her in person?
No, sir.
Have you threatened her in any way?
Absolutely not.
Have you threatened her children in any way?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you have any idea as you sit here today why, if at all, she would initiate these proceedings against you?
Because I'm running for mayor of Salisbury.
Why do you feel that way?
Ms. Brewington was running for state delegate. There were some issues at the time when she was running that as a reporter, blogger, whatever you want to call it, we did not support Ms. Brewington as a candidate. And we were very open about that, just as most providers of that kind of information are. And I believe this is all out of retaliation, all of it. There's no grounds, nothing she can stand on that says that there's any sexual interest or anything towards a child or anything of that nature. I take great offense to that.
Ms. Rivera, was Ms. Brewington, in fact, during a period of time, a contributor to your blog?
Yes, she was.
Based on philosophical differences or political differences, have you subsequently had what I'll describe as a falling out with Ms.
I wouldn't even call it a falling out. Julie was trying to build her website. Mine was much larger, and we incorporated because Julie had some very interesting ideas. So we offered that to bring her in, and she got on board. I don't believe there was any disagreements whatsoever. She just went back to doing her thing as her blog grew.
Have you had an opportunity to read the petition for peace order that Ms. Brewington filed last week in the district court?
Yes, I have.
Is there any truth in any of those allegations?
There's no truth.
Okay.
None.
And would you agree with Ms. Brewington's assessment that you have had no contact with her in the last 2 years?
I have not.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have for you,
What
sir.
is that New York Times case? The general, the lieutenant, it was a major general, was commander of the 24th Infantry Division in Germany, and he ran for something and resigned from the Army, and the New York Times, what's his last name?
I know the case you're talking about, Judge.
Yeah.
Sullivan?
It deals with public,
It's Sullivan, the defamation case.
yeah. New York Times, he was a lieutenant general, or no, a major general. He was the commander of the 24th Infantry Division. He went home just before I got there, and my commanding officer was running his Pro Blue program. Old age is not for sissies.
I think I had one more.
Mr.
Yeah, it's not working.
Albero is subject to cross-examination by Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Judge. Just about Mr. Albero, SBY News, is that a licensed corporation?
It's an LLC.
Also. And did you say that you consider yourself to be a reporter?
Blogger. I said whatever people take it as, reporter, blogger.
Well, have you maintained in the past that you're a reporter?
No, I said blogger.
And
Is this remunerative? Do you have advertisers or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
have you ever been in journalism school?
No, sir.
Have you ever been trained in journalism?
No, sir.
Just outside the scope of my direct, I believe.
So you're a blogger.
I'm a blogger, yes, sir. Just as Julie is, yeah.
Okay. Let me answer that. Now, do you know a Tracy Powell?
Yes, sir.
Did she work for you at one time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was she an integral part of SBY News?
For a brief period, she was a part of Salisbury News, yeah.
What would you say a brief period would be?
About a year of our 8-year existence.
Okay. And how many other employees, when Ms. Powell was working for you, how many other employees did you have?
Objection. Just
I'll get to it, Judge.
really don't know where we're going here.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
There are no employees.
Did Ms. Powell
I am just the only employee there. Ms. Powell did not work for me. She volunteered.
Okay. And was she, did she volunteer and work for you on a daily basis?
Sure, yeah.
Would she be familiar with the blogging and how it's done and things like that?
Yes, sir.
Would you be familiar with who was blogging?
I'm sorry, what was
Such
that?
as-
Would she be familiar with who was blogging?